that you enjoy. Oh. Hello and welcome in. If you've not been here before, my name is Tiz. Eventually I'll get this right. I make a lot of random different content, from gaming to books to IRL travel and random vlogs. And I just started making this channel. There's a couple videos that I want to make coming out. I want to do like a monthly TBR, and I want to try to read all of the physical books in my collection, show you guys a bunch of my sprayed edges. But I just left this week. My little sister just had a baby, so I am currently traveling. I'm visiting family. I'm going to be here for a couple weeks, and then I have some stuff with other work. So right now we are on the go, but just because we're on the go does not mean that we are not reading. I did bring my Kindle with me, so although I don't have any of my physical book stuff, I have actually been reading more than I normally do at home. Couple random things that I wanted this video to be about. First of all, I'm going to talk about whether or not I think that you should read the Plated Prisoner series. And then I also, random side tangent, I am so mad at Amazon. I just realized yesterday I accidentally bought Gleam on my Kindle, but I have Kindle Unlimited and it's on there. And so while I was going through the process of doing that return, I was on different, so I ordered this Kindle off of my partner's Amazon because he has Prime and that's where we order everything to the house. But in order to keep our accounts separate, keep all of my books together, I have my own Amazon account for that. So somehow I ended up discovering that I've actually been paying, this is kind of my own dumb fault, but I've been paying for 2 Kindle Unlimited subscriptions on both different accounts. I think one of them started on the one that I bought the Kindle on automatically. I never approved it, never saw it because it's not really my account. I don't really see it. And on my credit card statements, when it says recurring statement, they're spaced out enough that it always just told me that $12 amount. I thought everything was fine, but I was getting charged on both that account and on my other one that actually has this Kindle tied to it. So I have lost over like $150 of, I managed to get a couple months back. I might call again and see if I can get more because it was nothing that I didn't approve that. I don't even know how it happened in the first place, but been paying for 2 Kindle Unlimited subscriptions for over the last year. And also just with everything that Kindle did recently or Amazon did as far as making digital products like that you're paying for the license for it. You don't own the book, you can't download it, all of that. That really kind of pissed me off. So I'm kind of looking at getting a new e-reader. I've heard a lot of good things about Kobos. So if you guys have recommendations for other e-readers that you prefer, I would love to hear it because I'm very annoyed at Kindle at the moment. But while I'm traveling, it's the easiest thing to bring. I'm a minimalist traveler. I have a tiny little 30-liter backpack that I take along with me. So this is the way to read my books. I did start reading the Plated Prisoner series, and it was funny because the reason I didn't start reading this originally is because I looked on Goodreads, and for a little bit there I was being a little bit of a snob and I wasn't reading anything that was below a 4.0 rating. I wanted to read through all of these like really good books, and I've found that you can't always depend on that because either A, something has been hyped up a lot by TikTok or something and what they thought was a good book I actually don't like, and sometimes there's these books that don't have as good of rating but I absolutely loved it. So I'm starting to go less on the ratings and more what the book is about, whether I think I would enjoy it, what the writing style. This book, the reviews are a little bit lower, and that's why I didn't start it originally. But I have heard from a lot of people that if you enjoyed ACOTAR and that kind of vibes, that you would like it. So I was like, you know what? We're going to give it a try. ACOTAR is what got me back into reading. We'll see how I like it. Couple things. So I don't want to give any spoilers because obviously, if you haven't read it, I want you to be able to read it. But if you have, then we can talk in low key. So I'm halfway through the 3rd one, and I actually highly agree that I actually thought this before I went back and looked at reviews where people are talking about that it's kind of like ACOTAR. I was thinking this gives me very Tamlin Rhysand vibes. So if that is something that you really enjoyed, if you like that romance part, I think you would like it. The only thing I will say is I get why ratings are a little bit lower. The first book, I almost was like, I don't know if I want to read this because of the first chapter or two. I mean, if you like really smutty books and stuff like that, maybe you'll be like, yeah, let's go for it in the first couple chapters. I usually like books for the plot, and then all the rest of the sex stuff is secondary. Like, I like a good romance, but I'm more of like a slow burn, or and enemies to lovers and things I think has to be done really, really well. But I would say that if you can get through the beginning of it, it does get better and better. The first book, there were so many moments where I was just so angry, both at the male characters in the book and the main character. Just her thought process was infuriating, but you kind of need that basis to see her character growth and development throughout the series. So already halfway through the third book, I get the point of it, but it is a hard read, I would say. Like the first book, slogging through that and just being so frustrated. But at the same time, don't you want a book that makes you think and feel like big extreme feelings and be like, oh, this is so frustrating? So that was kind of my thought on the first book. And I have a couple little clips that I've taken while I'm reading them, and I'll put them in somewhere.
My phone is currently plugged in, it's almost dead, so that is why we have a terrible camera angle. And anyway, I was having a thought that I don't know if this is a neurospicy thing, like if it's like that I'm ADHD or what. Oh, hold on, I have a weird bookmark that just got added. Well, okay, no, so I know I have ADHD. I don't know if are you somebody who, like, if I read a book, my brain will almost dump the entire contents immediately after I finish it and start a new book. Like, I can't remember. Like, I'll remember the general feeling I got from a book. Like, oh, I really like that book. Or, like, I roughly know what happens. But, like, if I'm, like, two books, like, if I read a book and then read 2 or 3 more books, if someone was like, oh, what was the main character's name? I'd be like, I don't know. So one thing that I was thinking about for this channel, it'd be kind of fun to, like, as I'm reading, to have reactions. And I guess I'd have to do spoiler warnings, or not talk about what's in the book, but kind of react a little bit more. Because I feel like sometimes I really want to, like, be like, oh my god, this thing is happening, or this happened, or I want to talk to somebody about it. But then when I, like, get around to it, I don't remember anymore. So anyway, I'm currently reading, I just read Gild, right? Is that what it's called? I'm on the second book. It's called Glint. I finished one when I was at it's the Plated Prisoner series, and it had such bad ratings on, I think it was Goodreads or something, so I wasn't going to read it, but then, like, TikTok recommended it, and sometimes I just like to either A, read books that I think are terrible just because it's funny, or because I need to know. I just need to know. People are talking about shadow daddies and things, or, like, I actually kind of like this book so far. I definitely had a couple, like, face palm, like, head shaking, like, ugh, this is frustrating. But overall, I think I really like it. I mean, I flew through the first book. I finished it. I had 2 flights. I'm visiting family right now, but I had 2 flights on the way over here. And I cruised through. I finished the book super, super quickly. And now I'm, like, 2 hours into the next one. So, I don't know. So far, so good. I don't know. Well, anyway, that was random thought. Maybe I'll put this in a video and we can all chat about it, but okay, bye. I put my retainer in and I just got ready for bed, but it's also, like, almost 1 a.m., but I couldn't stop reading. I called it. I knew this was gonna happen. I don't want to. This is a problem. I feel like I want to talk about these books, but I don't want to give spoilers away. So I don't know what to say other than, like, freaking knew it. From the very beginning, I was like, obviously this is what's going to happen. It's giving me very, like, kind of like Tamlin and Rhysand vibes. Which is, I feel like that also happens when you start reading books like this, is so many of them feel like things that you've already read before. Like, I'm kind of sitting here being like, this feels really similar. But I actually like the build-up and the amount of story that is being put into each book so far. But anyway, I think I'm on the last chapter. It says I've got 9 minutes left. Nope. I'm done. Okay, I'm going to go start the next one.
One thing that I did kind of want to talk about, though, that I was kind of interested in to see what your opinion was, if you've read it or if you're planning on reading it, was so the author, Raven Kennedy, her prose, or like the way she writes, I can't decide if I love it or hate it. Like, there are definitely some of the like metaphors and the things that she writes I think are really beautiful, and I do enjoy it. But sometimes, like, there's a couple of them where either one of my biggest pet peeves is when you use something but you use it too many times, or like it's a very powerful like descriptor, but then it gets overused to where you're just like, oh, okay, now they're just using this again. Kind of like how if you guys have read the Book of Azrael, there's a line in there where they're like the lock on a door in a basement rattles or something. It's a line basically talking about this locked door, and I get why she was using it, and it was for like poetic effect, but it was just I was so annoyed by that line by the end of the book. This has some similar things where I'm like, you used that already, or like you used that the last book. Like the one that sticks out in my brain is she talks about like truth being something like spices, and that some of them, like the right amount is good, but too many and it becomes unpalatable or whatever. But she uses that a couple times, and so I was kind of like, so I found myself getting a little frustrated, and sometimes they were like so ridiculous of descriptions, or like that like I'd have to read it a couple times to try to understand what she was saying. So some of it felt really beautiful and it flowed well, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool metaphor. I really like how that worked. And then other times it was just like a facepalm moment. So I don't know how you guys felt about it. You also let me know what you think. Obviously, that kind of depends on personal preference of like what kind of style of writing that you enjoy. For me, what I've started to realize is the thing that I like about books is whether it just feels easy to read. Like, obviously, there is terrible writing, right, where you're just like, this is so bad. But you can always find, at least in my opinion, I can always find little bits and pieces that I like of it. But what I enjoy about reading is if something just flows really well to where I can get through a book pretty quickly. Like it captures my ADHD hyperfixation enough where I can just like get through a book in like a day. Also, random side note, as I'm sitting here editing this, I'm going to get my hair cut and dyed soon, okay? Don't judge that. And also, I apologize for the amount of times that I say like. That is something that I am working on, and it drives me crazy, but it's a work in progress. Basically, what I wanted to address is if you do really enjoy ACOTAR, and if that's something that you love, and this book really should have had a trigger warning page, I feel like, where it says that there's a lot of emotional abuse and manipulation, some physical violence. There is a lot of unwanted sexual advances and a lot of scenes that are a little bit hard to read. So if you're okay with that, the story itself, I think there were a couple parts that made me roll my eyes a little bit, and I have a lot of questions, and I'm interested to see if they'll be answered. But it's definitely a romantasy situation. Slow burn. You have to get through like the first 2 books before anything really starts happening. But personally, I'm here for that. I would prefer to like understand the characters more, and because that makes the connection once things start happening that much better to me than if like in a couple pages they're just, So personally, I found so many similarities to ACOTAR and this book. So if you're okay with those trigger warnings, I do think that you will enjoy this series as it goes on. I don't know about the ending yet, so I will have to see. So if you really liked the dynamic in ACOTAR, I think you will really enjoy it in this book. It's very much that like coming of power for the female main character and the, shall we call them the shadow daddy, or for the main male situation ship, does give me very reminiscent vibes to ACOTAR. So I will keep you updated as we get through the series. If you've read them before, let me know what you think. Next video is going to be our September recap, everything that I ended up getting finished in September and what we're going to plan to read in October. I am going to have that challenge of getting through my physical TBR here starting soon. If you would please like and subscribe to follow along with the journey so we can chat books, that would be lovely. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you next Sunday.